Christine, how much does it hurt the WNBA when Caitlin Clark is out?
It is devastating to the WNBA when Caitlin Clark is out.
Imagine a sports league where the absence of one player doesn't just cause a ripple, but a tidal wave that drags down the entire enterprise. That's exactly what's happening right now in the WNBA, and veteran sports journalist Christine Brennan has laid it all bare. Her assessment is stark. When Caitlin Clark is out, it's not just a dip in viewership, it's a devastating blow that has seen more than half the league's TV audience vanish. Has any other athlete ever wielded such singular power over their sport? Golf without Tiger Woods certainly felt the pinch, but the WNBA's reliance on Clark has exposed a vulnerability so profound, it's like watching an empire crumble in real time. This is the story of how a league, handed its most valuable asset on a silver platter, seems determined to watch her injured on the sidelines while their entire operation teeters on the brink of financial freefall.
I know a lot of us were expecting some sort of dip since Caitlin Clark has been out with injury, but I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA to be down. And this tweet from Christine Brennan really stuck out to me. She said one player gets injured and more than half the TV audience for the entire league disappears. Has any other athlete ever had that kind of impact on a sport? Golf without Tiger definitely dropped precipitously on occasion, but
when Caitlin Clark was sidelined with a quad injury back in May, the harsh reality of the league's dependence was thrust into the spotlight. But with her recent groin injury, we're witnessing a terrifying repeat. Reports indicate this new injury might stem from compensating for the previous one, a dangerous cycle that risks much more serious long-term damage. The advice is clear: prioritize her recovery, even if it means missing crucial games, including potentially the All-Star break, because when she's off the court, the numbers are catastrophic. Nationally televised WNBA viewership has plummeted by a staggering 55%. Games featuring the Indiana Fever alone saw a 53% drop, falling from an average of 1.81 million viewers when Clark was playing to a mere 847,000 without her.
And the truth is the truth, and the data is there. And what we saw when Caitlin was out the last time, the 5 games that she missed earlier in the season, the WNBA's viewership dropped more than 50%. Not just the Fever, but the entire league.
And here's where it gets truly mind-boggling. This isn't just about the Fever. It's the entire league experiencing this seismic shift. While Caitlin Clark was busy filling arenas, breaking TV rating records, and generating unprecedented revenue, the WNBA seems to have been doing absolutely nothing to safeguard their golden goose. Consider this: one player is responsible for an estimated 26.5% of all WNBA economic activity, yet opponents are allowed to target her with impunity, while the league lectures everyone else about basketball plays. This news is alarming for everyone involved, especially with a crucial year ahead. The league is heading into collective bargaining agreement negotiations, and the current viewership collapse makes it incredibly difficult to argue for better player contracts when the foundation itself is so shaky.
Quad injury jumped to her groin likely because of compensation. But the thing that you have to be careful of is if, say, you try to rush her back from this injury as well, then you're getting into this territory where a very serious injury can happen. That is what the Indiana Fever, that is what Caitlin need to avoid the best that they possibly can. So if it means that Caitlin is out for 3 weeks, if it means that she is out all the way through All-Star, then so be it.
What's truly infuriating is that this scenario has played out before, yet the league appears utterly incapable of learning from its own history. It's like watching someone repeatedly touch a scorching hot stove, get burned, and then reach for it again, feigning surprise at the outcome. We're only a month into the regular season, and Clark has already dealt with 2 injuries. The first, a left quad strain, and now this groin issue. You never want to be that player who's constantly sidelined. battling injuries. It's a worrying trend that needs immediate attention for both her career longevity and the league's stability.
Clark went down. The WNBA ratings have dropped over 55% across the board.
Hey, guess what, guys?
The league is Caitlin Clark.
The league is Caitlin Clark. She is the WNBA, guys.
Sidelined with a left quad strain May 24th, national TV viewership has plunged since then 55%. Before the injury, the Fever, her team, were averaging 1.81 million viewers, almost 2 million. Since her injury, fewer than 850,000.
The financial ramifications are swift and brutal. Ticket prices for Fever games have cratered by a shocking 71%, with some dropping from over $800 to just a couple $100. The average ticket price across games she missed plummeted from an average of nearly $1,400 down to a mere $80. This speaks volumes about who is truly driving fan interest. Even road games that were moved to larger arenas, specifically to accommodate the demand for Clark, are now struggling to fill those larger venues. The highly anticipated rematch between the Chicago Sky and the Fever, which previously drew over 2.2 million viewers, saw ticket prices crash from over $200 down to under $100 without her. It's no longer a must-see event for casual fans.
News is alarming for the league, and it's alarming for the league because this is such a crucial year for the WNBA. At the end of this season, the WNBA will go into CBA negotiations. If negotiations go well, then every single player in the WNBA has a much better chance of making so much more in their next contract. And that's one thing when you start thinking about how many people stopped watching when Caitlin Clark got injured. A lot of people stopped watching because they are boycotting the WNBA. They don't want to give viewership to any other teams or any other players, whether they like other players on the team or not, because of how the media and the league itself has handled Caitlin Clark and how they have treated her fans.
Veteran sports journalist Christine Brennan, whose upcoming book delves into the league's failures, has been a relentless critic. She argues that the WNBA is failing to meet the moment. People are watching more than ever, and what they're seeing is a league that has undeniable data proving Clark draws over half the TV audience, yet they continue to allow cheap shots and hard fouls that serve no purpose other than to intimidate their biggest draw. It's like a restaurant owner allowing customers to harass the chef, whose cooking is the sole reason people even visit the establishment. The comparison to other sports is stark and, frankly, embarrassing. Can you imagine the NBA allowing players to spend months targeting LeBron James with dirty plays while dismissing it as just competitive basketball? They'd shut that down instantly and issue suspensions before you could blink.
What's really concerning about this is the fact that we are only a month into the regular season and Caitlin Clark has already been out with 2 injuries. With the first one being her having to miss some time with a left quad strain. Now, of course, this is concerning because if you're already on your second injury, you don't want to be that player that is always hurt. Cough, cough, Embiid, cough, cough, Anthony Davis. So I really do hope that the Fever really sits her out right now for a while, only because you don't want her to have more long-term injuries and be more prone to.
The pattern is as predictable as it is maddening. Clark gets fouled hard by opponents who seem more focused on making a statement than playing the game. In 2024, 5 out of 30 flagrant fouls were committed against her, with the Chicago Sky accounting for 80% of those. When she responds to this physicality, she's criticized for being too aggressive. When she doesn't, she's called soft. It's a no-win scenario the league has manufactured and refuses to address. Meanwhile, the financial impact is devastating not just the Fever, but the entire WNBA ecosystem. Projections already suggested a $50 million loss for the year, and without Clark on the court, those losses are mounting rapidly. TV ratings are collapsing, merchandise sales are slowing, and attendance figures are reverting to pre-Clark numbers.
Man. Man, bruh. Congratulations to the WNBA. Your ratings are going to drop by 55 to 60% once again. I believe the WNBA have successfully broken Caitlin Clark.
But the most damning aspect of this entire situation, it was entirely preventable. Clark entered the league as a humble rookie, consistently praising teammates and deflecting attention. She handled criticism with remarkable grace for someone so young. The league had the opportunity to embrace her, protect her, and leverage her popularity to elevate the entire sport. Instead, jealousy and petty politics have poisoned what should have been a massive celebration of women's basketball. The ripple effects extend far beyond viewership and ticket sales. Corporate sponsors who invested millions based on this growth are now questioning their decisions. The league seems caught between wanting to be taken seriously as a professional organization and embracing manufactured drama for social media engagement. You can't have it both ways.
As big a deal as Tiger was in men's golf, Keith, he did, and when he was gone, it affected the ratings, but nothing like that. And Michael Jordan being out, maybe a 5 percentage points or something. Nothing like this. You can make a strong case, and I will make that case, and have that there is no one single athlete more important to his or her sport or tour or whatever the circuit is that they play on than Caitlin Clark is to the WNBA.
As a warrior, as a tough competitor, you just don't see many female basketball players like her. The comparison to other professional leagues is a painful one. If the NBA allowed players to target LeBron James with dirty plays, they would immediately issue suspensions. But the WNBA appears content to let this destructive pattern continue, believing any attention is good attention. This failure to protect Clark has fostered a toxic environment where fans are refusing to watch other games because they've lost faith in the league's competitive integrity. When your own fans are saying they won't tune in because they don't trust the games to be officiated fairly, you have a serious credibility problem that goes far beyond ratings and revenue.
I don't even know where to begin, man. I hope Caitlin Clark is okay. I want to know when this injury even happened, bro, because let's be serious here. She has the quad injury. Mind you, Caitlin Clark hadn't missed a game since she was like 19 years old, since she was like 18 in college or something. Now she has a groin injury. We've never seen Caitlin Clark play as bad as she played the last 3 games. Let's just be serious here. She's like 1 for 20-something on threes in the last 3. We've never seen her shoot the ball this way. I'll say that. Has she been hurt and playing through this?
The physicality, the constant hacking and fouling. It's clearly having a wear and tear impact on players like Clark. And by allowing this to continue, the league is ultimately hurting itself. Because when it comes time for those crucial CBA negotiations, this data will be used against them. How can we give you more money when viewership drops so dramatically if your star gets hurt? It's a valid question. What makes this even more infuriating is the multiple opportunities the WNBA has had to course correct, and they've failed every single time. Each incident involving Clark should have been a wake-up call to establish clear standards for player protection and competitive integrity. Instead, we've seen the same tired responses about basketball plays and letting players play.
The thing I admire about Caitlin, she's a warrior. She's tough. You hear me? Bruh, you just don't see players, you don't see female basketball players like her. I'm sorry. I done seen a lot of female basketball players, like I said.
The comparison to other professional sports leagues is stark and embarrassing.
The irony is that Clark's injury, the very thing the league should have worked to prevent, has provided the clearest possible evidence of her monumental value. That 55% drop in viewership isn't subtle. Yet, even with this crystal clear evidence, there's little sign the WNBA has learned its lesson. League officials continue to tout competitive balance and physicality as if dangerous plays are somehow essential to the sport. They treat routine plays involving Clark as major incidents while seemingly ignoring the actual dangerous plays committed against her. Because, let's be honest, everyone watching knows who is drawing the crowds.
To clean up, I believe the physicality and all this hacking and fouling that goes on, she getting blindsided by Marina Mabrey. I think all of this stuff is having a wear and tear and an impact. And all you guys are doing are hurting yourselves, because the numbers are going to drop and drop and drop. And trust me, when it's time for that collective bargaining agreement, they are going to point to this and say, well, how can we give you guys all this money? What happens if she gets hurt?
Growing up, we were taught a simple principle: always protect the money. If you keep hurting the player who is the league's financial engine and she's out for a year or two, who's going to watch? And if no one watches, how do you generate revenue? The solution isn't complicated, but it requires the WNBA to make some difficult decisions about its identity. If they want to be taken seriously as a professional basketball organization, they need to start acting like one. That means clear guidelines on player protection, consistently enforced. It means stopping manufactured controversies from overshadowing the actual basketball. Most importantly, it means recognizing that their biggest stars, the ones filling arenas and driving ratings, deserve protection from targeting and harassment that serves no purpose beyond generating social media noise.
Every day because of the way they play the game, because I love the WNBA. I love the way they play the game. But we really watch it because Caitlin Clark and everybody watching. Now listen, if I keep bumping her, knocking her down, might get her a concussion, you might hurt her for real. For 2 weeks, she was done with like a hamstring. She was down. 55% of the viewership was down. She comes back the next game, it's about 3 million viewers. Now let me tell you something. Growing up in the hood, they teach you this: always protect the money. Y'all keep hurting her and all that, she going for a year or two, ain't nobody gonna watch it. If nobody watches, how y'all gonna make and generate money?
The ongoing collapse in viewership, attendance, and revenue without Clark is a harsh reminder of what the league was before she arrived, and what it will become again if they don't change course. The league averaged just 555,000 viewers this season without her, a noticeable drop from last year's average. These numbers signal a return to the pre-Clark era: empty arenas and irrelevant games that only hardcore fans bothered to watch. But what many in the media miss is the visual when walking into those games. Thousands of kids, filling seats, rocking Caitlin Clark jerseys, no matter the team or the city. That's the real takeaway. It's not just her playing style, it's her appeal to parents bringing their children. That's the part the league seems to not grasp.
What I saw walk into the game is what the media don't see. Thousands of kids.
Wearing what, Gil?
Kids. Huh?
What were they
Caitlin
wearing?
Clark jerseys.
Were they Fever jerseys? Were they Iowa jerseys? Were they
Wherever she played. It was whatever she played.
And that's what was more impressive to me.
It did that. It wasn't just it was Caitlin in the back.
For her style of play.
But her style of play. But it wasn't adults. Right. It was parents bringing their kids and their friends. Them seats was kids filled.
Right.
And that's what they don't understand. They don't grasp that part of it.
The most tragic aspect of all this is that it didn't have to happen this way. With proper protection and promotion of their star, the WNBA could have built a sustainable foundation for long-term growth using Clark's popularity. Instead, they've constructed a house of cards that collapses the moment their biggest draw steps off the court. Until the WNBA learns to protect and promote the players who actually drive interest, they'll continue cycling through boom and bust periods. The question remains: will the WNBA finally learn to protect its golden goose, or will they continue this destructive pattern until the opportunity Clark's popularity has provided is completely squandered? Based on everything we've seen, the league suddenly developing common sense isn't exactly a sure bet.